Hi there, welcome to my channel. My name is Lisa, also known as Fiber Nymph, and today is Saturday, January 25th. How are you doing? I hope you're well. I know it has been a rough week for a lot of us, and I'm hoping that this next half hour, 45 minutes, however long this takes, hopefully it can be, as always, a nice little respite from whatever else is going on in your world or the world. Um, you know what I mean. Anyway, I'm glad you're here. If you're a new viewer, thank you so much for checking out my podcast. I hope you will enjoy it. If you are a return viewer, thank you so much for coming back. And if you are a supporter of the channel through my YouTube memberships, a special thank you to you as well. I really appreciate your support, helping me make this hopefully a really good podcast for everyone. If you are interested in the YouTube membership, you can check that out below the video. There should be a button somewhere that says join, and you can click that and just see what you get. You basically get usually an extra video a month that's members only. So I have that recorded for January. I just haven't had a chance to edit it yet. So hopefully that'll be happening in the next day or two. My husband and I are currently sharing my laptop because he's working on editing videos from our Isle of Man trip from last September, all the GoPro footage, and my computer's the only one that has the video editing software on it. So we're kind of balancing that right now. So that's part of the reason why my members video for January has not gotten put up on the internet yet. So it's coming though. Anyway, what else do I want to tell you? There are show notes for my episodes in the drop down menu below, or not the drop down menu, the description box below the video. Click more and you'll find the show notes with links and timestamps and all that. I have project pages both on Ravelry and on my project blog, which is called My Favorite Day. So hopefully all of that is accessible to you, one or the other. And if you have any questions about anything I talk about today, feel free to leave a comment. I would love to answer you and give you whatever information you need. So I think that is probably everything. You can find me and things about the podcast and the Ravelry group and my business, Fiber Nymph Dye Works, all linked below as well. I think that's it. How you doing? How's your January? I hope it's going well for you. It has been so cold here. Cold, cold, cold. Lots of snow. We've had at least 3 feet of snow this year. I mean, not piling up, like it snows a lot and then we get some melting, and then it snows a lot more and then we get some melting. So yeah, it's been interesting. I have been wearing my sweaters a lot this year though. That's been a bonus. Which reminds me, I am currently wearing my highly modified Weekender Lite, which is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. This barely looks recognizable as that pattern, other than like maybe this ribbed top along the top and the basic shape of it. This is a fingering weight sweater. I knit it, I used the pattern more as just sort of a guideline based on my experience with the regular Weekender. I knew I did not want to do it, the reverse stockinette side out, so I did this with the stockinette side facing, and in place of that slipped stitch that the Weekender has that you see down the front whenever it's reverse stockinette, I just sort of made up this. You can kind of see it. This isn't the greatest light to see it. I think it's blowing out. But anyway, it's a cabled pattern that I did with some like reverse stockinette in the middle. I did replicate it on the back as well, so it's on both sides. It's a really nice sweater for I don't know. Sometimes, like this winter has been different. I've been able to wear like my DK and worsted weight sweaters without being too hot. Usually I get really warm, especially because we have a fire in the fireplace a lot, and that heats our whole house. As I've explained, our fireplace is plumbed into the hot water heat. Anyway, this year has been different. I've been able to wear a lot of my worsted weight sweaters with thermal tops underneath them just to stay warm. But this is a really nice lighter weight sweater, and I just have a tank top on underneath this right now, and I'm just on the verge of being a little bit cold, but I think I'll be okay while I record. So anyway, and this was out of my bounce base in one of my dark rainbow colorway, dark rainbow half skein project sets. So those are in the shop occasionally. There is not any in there now. I can always dye them up for you though. If you're interested, just email me. Okay, so what else do I want to tell you? I think, so sign-ups for my first club of this year, the Warm Hug Yarn and Fiber Club, those are in the shop right now. They will be up and open through January 31st. So if you have not signed up to be a member of the club or purchased your membership, you still have time. I'm very much looking forward to this club because I think we can all use a warm hug at this point in life. Like, we just need, yeah, it's okay, gonna be fine. I do anyway, hopefully you do too. I mentioned last time that the first round of the Year of Gnomes collaboration kits that I'm doing with Sarah from Imagine Landscapes and Steph from Adorn It, those went up 2 Thursdays ago now. Gosh, has it been that long? It has, the 16th. They flew, like they were gone. We had, I think, 50-ish available, and I think they were all gone within a half hour. So that was very exciting, and thank you if you are one of the people who purchased those. We will be doing 3 more rounds of those throughout the year. The next ones I think will be available in April, so you can look forward to that. Meanwhile, I am planning to put up some small gnome yarn kits in the shop. They will not be the same yarn that was in the collaboration kit. That yarn is exclusive just to that kit. I won't be re-dyeing that. I've had some people email me and ask, and I'm so sorry. That's just not how we're doing that, so I can't do that for you. But I will have some other Nomi yarn kits available to you throughout the year. I'm working on getting the first batch of them ready, hopefully soon, so you can look for those in the shop. Sorry, I'm still drinking my coffee. Also coming up pretty soon, what will be in the shop, I have some new dye-to-order items because I did retire some of them, or hibernate, not really retire. I hibernated a bunch of the pie colorways that had been up for dye-to-order. I hibernated my Wild Atlantic collection. That's not up in the shop anymore, but I will be replacing that with new things. I will have some of my other pie colorways that haven't been in the shop for a while. Those will be up for dye-to-order. And I'm going to be adding my Lepidoptera collection. The first 3 colorways, I did 2 different rounds of the Lepidoptera Yarn and Fiber Club. And so I will be putting the first club colorways up. Actually, I can show you what they were because I did do samples of them. This is the Cecropia Moth colorway. This was the Swallowtail Butterflies colorway. And this was the Luna Moth colorway. So those 3 are going to be going up in the shop soon. I'm going to say probably within the next week or so, they will be up. I did a second round of the Lepidoptera Club last year. Those 3 colorways I will be adding probably closer to summer, just because I don't release my club colorways for a full year until after they've been sent out. So June would be when I will be releasing those. So they'll get added to that collection. I'm hoping to also maybe add some of my Backyard Bird Watchers club colorways. I've had them in the shop before, but I may pull some of those out and put those up as dye-to-orders as well. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on. But then I'm also going to have some in-stock stuff going up soon. I am retired. I hate to say retiring because that makes it sound like I will never, ever have it again. I am mostly retiring my Linnaeus base, which is the yak base, and my Surrey fluff base, which is Surrey the fluffy Surrey base. Both of those I've carried, and I have dyed those for the shop occasionally. Um, they aren't ones that I want to continue carrying. Now, should a project come along and be like, that would be the exact right base for this particular project, sure, I will bring it back in, but I'm not going to be carrying it. I'm not going to have it on hand, like to do special orders, anything like that. And I did go through and I dyed up all the rest of my base yarn inventory of those two bases. So I'm going to be putting that stuff in the shop very soon. I have some self-striping that is on Linnaeus. I will have some half skeins that I'm just going to put up. They aren't going to be like in sets or anything. You can just buy whatever ones you want. And then I will have some mini skeins as well that I'm probably going to put up in Color Palooza kind of sets. So like 10, I think 10 minis in the set. So those you can look forward to. And also my remaining Surrey fluff. Those I also did. I did them in the same colors as the half skeins of Linnaeus, just in case you wanted to buy them together and use them together. But they'll just be up. So you can be looking for those. And again, as I always say, my newsletter is the best way to know when stuff's going up in the shop, whether it's dye to order or a club or new in stock things. And as always, I do dye to order stuff and sometimes have leftovers from that. So those items get popped into the shop. I did put up some new inversible sets from leftovers from some dye to order. So, you know, just check the shop occasionally and you'll see that stuff there. I also restocked my Haya needle collection. So there's a lot of those new in there, replacement of sizes that had sold out. Also, I did bring in some 16-inch high bamboo needles in a small collection of sizes. I had a specific reason for doing that. I ended up not needing them for that reason, so they are in the shop now. If you like the bamboos, let me know, because I would be happy to bring more of those in different cable lengths and different sizes if you would like. I mainly just carry the sharps. But I'm happy to expand that if people have, you know, would like some. I also brought back in more of the Nirvana scissors, the pretty little scissors that have the colored handles and things. So there's a whole new collection of those. And I just got in an order of the scissor sheaths, the NNK scissor sheaths. I haven't added those to the shop, but probably by the time this video goes up, they will be in the shop. So if you were looking for one of those, there's more. And I've got some other new notion-y kind of stuff coming into the shop for this year that I will hopefully have up in the coming, I would say 2 to 3 weeks. So again, watch the newsletter, but I'm really excited. I love getting in some fun new things early in the year just to make things exciting in these drab days of January and February. Okay, I think that is everything as far as announcements and shoppy kind of stuff. So let us move on to the crafting, because I'll tell you what, I have done a lot of crafting in the last couple of weeks. I have a bunch, actually I have all finished objects to show you and only one work in progress to talk about. So we're going to start with the finished objects, and I finished my second plant mat. Here it is. I'm so excited about this. This ended up being, I think I calculated it to be about a little over 700 yards of yarn that I used. This is all hand spun. As you will remember, I was using hand spun like little leftovers and little mini skeins that I probably plied from like that bobbin ends, things like that. I use almost everything that I have that falls into that category. My basket that I keep those things in, it's sitting over there, and I threw other stuff in it, so I won't bother to get it, but it's pretty much empty. I think I ended up with one skein, maybe two little mini skeins that I did not use out of all of that hand spun small skein leftovery stuff. I was so happy to do that. So anyway, again, this is just a granny square rectangle. I talked about how I did this last time when I showed you the first one, and I did the same thing with this one. I start with a chain. I don't remember how many I did on this one. And then I pick up stitches and do a three double crochet granny cluster, skip 2 stitches, do another one into the next one, all the way down. When you get to the end, I do the one here, then I do 3 more, chain 3, do another cluster here, chain 3, do another cluster here, all into the same stitch, and then work my way down and finish it by doing that other end. And then I just continue going around just like you do with a granny square. So I have those kind of instructions or what I did in the link in the project pages for the first plant mat. So I will link to that in the project page for the second one as well. Super easy. I did have a bunch of yarn that was really lightweight. The majority of this yarn was between, I would say, DK weight and Aran weight. So I was estimating it for pigskin party point purposes to be about 2 yards per gram. That's a heavy worsted bordering on Aran weight. So I feel like that was pretty conservative. But I had some that was really fine, so I wound it into a center pull ball and worked with it from the inside and the outside, doubling it to make it thicker. And that worked out great. So yeah, it's super colorful, really fun. I have not soaked it and blocked it, which I do want to do, not because I think it really needs to be blocked. The size is probably just about perfect at this point. You will see I got to a point where I had my width. It didn't need to be any wider, so then I just added on rows here at the end. Let's see, how many did I end up doing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I added 5 rows to each end of the mat, and because I wanted them to all be the stitch facing the same way, I broke the yarn at the end of each row and then knit again from the top rather than going back and forth, because it does look different. And again, it was a plant mat that's going to sit on a table way over on the other side of my room. Nobody's ever really going to look at it, but I would know, and I wanted it to look that way. It just gave me a whole bunch of extra ends to weave in. But I just sat here one morning for an hour or so and I wove in all my ends. So all the ends are woven in. So the only thing left to do is just soak it and get it a little evened out. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. I crocheted it using, I believe, an eye hook. Yeah, so that's done. I don't have any more need for any mats at the moment, so I'm gonna try not to try to cast on anymore. But again, like I used all that hand spun. Now my daughter did finally tell me that she has one place that she could use a mat. So, but she wants hers in specific colors, and I'll probably make hers out of superwash rather than hand spun. So that'll be a future project, but not right now. Okay, so that is my first finished object. The other thing I believe I showed you last time, was it this one? I believe it was this one, is this hat. This was my January charity hat. I did this out of 5 different colors of leftover Mountain Tweed Merino DK. And basically I just striped it and I did some slip stitch stuff going on here just to give it a little bit of interest. And so it is finished. Yeah, again, one of my goals for this year is to make at least one charity item. I think I may have said charity hat, but it doesn't have to be a hat. It could be a cowl or a scarf or something else. But I want to make at least one charity item per month. So this was my official January one. And then I decided to make 2 more. These though, I did actually follow a pattern, and this was my pattern called Miscellany, which has been available on Ravelry. I have since deactivated it. You can't purchase it right now because I realized as I was following it, it's one of my older patterns, and while I don't think there was anything wrong with it, it could use some updating just for a little bit of clarity and some things like that. So I took it down off of Ravelry. I am going to, like I said, clarify it, update it a bit, and then I will re-release it. But I did this hat following that, and this was 3 different skeins of my Bonafide base. Again, these were leftovers. I'm really having fun using up leftovers. So this was the first one, and then I finished it, and the reason I'm doing all these hats all of a sudden is because I don't have socks on the needles at the moment. I don't want to put socks on the needles at the moment because I don't need socks. We've talked about this. But hats are really good just sitting at the table or watching a movie kind of project for me. So that's why I've suddenly started doing all these hats. Anyway, so here's the second one that I did. And obviously, this is the color change configuration that's actually in the pattern, you know, starting with color A, incorporating in color B, then dropping color A, adding color C, and then finishing with color B in here, and finishing the whole hat with color C. So that's how that was. I decided I wanted to try a variation on that with different colors here. And I was planning to finish the whole hat with this fuchsia color, but I ran out, so I just picked up that yellow. So anyway, this was the second one, and this was also out of Bonafide. I think the green might be my strong DK. I'm not sure, but it's all DK weight. The pattern was actually written for worsted weight, and that's one of the things that I want to update in the pattern, is to provide some stitch count stuff for if you want to do it at a DK instead. So that is that. Those are the hats. I am really enjoying making hats. It's one of those things that, like, I love knitting hats, but like I only need so many hats because I don't wear hats a lot. My husband has more hats than he can probably wear the rest of his life. Emma does like hats. I do make her hats occasionally. And my son is kind of in the same boat as, like, I've got hats, I don't need more hats. So anyway, but if I can make them as a charity donation, great. Someone in the Ravelry group, one of our members, and I believe she watches the podcast as well, she said she has knit socks for as charity knits before, and I had never thought about that. I guess I figure socks are more of a specialized item that you want to fit a particular foot. But if you're donating them, I mean, it's just like anything else. Hopefully the person who needs items will be able to find what they need in the size they need. So I'm thinking about starting to do some socks as charity knitting. And maybe I'll do heavier weight socks like sport or DK or something. I don't know. I have to think about that. But it's nice to know that that is an option, that I could do that probably. Okay, so moving along out of the hat, those are the only hats, I moved on to working on some whips. Now, you guys know that I have been taking part in the Pigskin Party, the Downseller Studio Pigskin Party event, which is quickly drawing to a close. It finishes on Super Bowl, the day after the Super Bowl here in the United States. So that's probably just a couple weeks away now. But usually whips are not allowed for points in the Pigskin Party, unless they do a whip challenge, which they did end up doing. And I think it was shortly after I podcasted the last time that I found out about it. And so, like, yes, there was like 2 weeks or something. I think it was before the playoffs started, maybe. I don't know. But I saw that. So I went into my whips, which I'm really excited. Like, my languishing whips area is quite low at this point. Like, I don't have a lot in there anymore. But two things that I did have in there were 2 pair of mitts that I started, I believe it was November of 2019. And they started out as a pattern that I was writing. And I had knit 1 pair, but I had knit them out of a base that I don't carry anymore. So I wanted to do them out of a base I do carry. And so I did this pair, and I had 1 of them done, which I believe was this one. And this is my Traveler Sport Weight base. And this is my, that's not even a word, colorway. One of my friends, Sarah, said I totally missed the opportunity to say it, call this project, that's not even a mitt. But anyway, I think that's what she said. Oh gosh, anyhow, whatever. So I had the 1 mitt done, and I had the second one cast on. Like, it was a third of the way done. I have no idea why I stopped, but I did. And so I finished the second one. So now it's done. Did I have extensive notes on this as I was trying to write it? I had notes, not extensive ones. So if I am going to publish this pattern, I'll have to really work on writing it up. But it was nice to work through it because that really jogged my memory as to what I was going for. I have knit a lot of mitts for myself in this general way, and that's why I thought it would be nice to write it up. So anyway, so this is the sport weight, well, it's a sport weight version. It's a sport weight mitt. Yeah, I'm happy with them. So I finished those, but the other pair I had going on, I had started doing with a light fingering weight held together with my mohair. So this is my sunshine base held together with my fluff mohair base. And I had one done. Did not have the second one started, so I started the second one and I finished it. These did not take very long at all. And I was a little concerned because mohair has been a little bothersome for me recently, at least wearing it. Last year, it's kind of what kicked off a whole lot of my itching issues when I was wearing my Love Note one day in January last year. And so I really kind of stayed away from mohair ever since then. I'm happy to say this did not bother me to work with. And I've worn them, you know, just for very short amounts of time after I've had them done, and they haven't really bothered me. Now, I don't know how I would fare if I was outside, say like shoveling snow or doing something where I was starting to get warm and like, you know, underneath here would get warm. That might be a problem. But I was happy with how they turned out, and the light fingering held with the mohair does effectively give you the same gauge as the sport weight, and that's what I was going for because I would like to be able to include both of those as yarn options for the pattern when and if I actually get it written up. So I was really excited to get two long-standing whips out of my projects. I don't know why. Why do we do that? Why do we leave things that literally only took me a couple days to finish off? Why do we let them sit for years and years? It seems so ridiculous. But we all do it, I think. Maybe some of you don't. Maybe some of y'all are much better about that. But I think a lot of us do that. Okay. Oh, another project that I did that was not a whip, but this was and still is, actually it's still going on through the end of January, the January challenge for the Pigskin Party, which Fiber Nymph Dye Works is sponsoring, is the Small Gains challenge, where you're supposed to make something between 50 and 100 yards. Oh, excuse me. There. Anyway, so I made this cute little yarn cozy, and I did not write down what the actual name of the pattern is. Sorry, I will put it down here. Oh gosh, I totally didn't look this up. I'm sorry. Anyway, it was such a fun little project. I've seen these multiple times, and a lot of people were making these for the challenge. And I thought, you know what, this would be a great opportunity for me to give this a try. And it's really easy, you know, like you cast on and you work your way out and do your increasing like that. That's all stockinette. And then once you start working up the sides, you're doing this 3x1 rib up the sides till you get your height that you want. And then you finish it off with an I-cord bind off, which I know I've done I-cord bind offs before, but I hadn't done one in a really long time. So I felt like that was a good experience for me to do one again and get reacquainted with that. And there you go. And I have, you know, a full ball of yarn in there. It is a DK weight, I believe. But yeah, so it was a fun little project. And it gave me my challenge points for the January challenge. Okay, what else? The only other thing that I've worked on, I have not been spinning at all. I have not worked on my cross stitch at all. And I have not put anything on my loom. So I've mostly been knitting hats. I am also working on another very long languishing whip. I think it was also from November of 2019. So I have a pattern out called Ryoko, which is a pattern knit out of light fingering weight, my sunshine base, and held with a strand of fluff, the Mohair fluff base, right? I published that several years ago. It's still one of my most popular patterns. It is available in my shop as well as on Ravelry. And every once in a while I do put kits together for that as well. Matter of fact, I think there might be one kit in the shop that's been in there for some time. But anyway, I digress. I started another one of these, again, back several years ago now. And I don't remember what my impetus was for starting it. I think I originally cast it on thinking, oh, maybe I'll give this to my mom for Christmas. Well, then I never finished it. I'm sorry, I'm working to get it untangled from the yarn. I never finished it. And then as I continued to work on it, I ended up doing something completely different than what's actually in the Ryoko pattern. So here's what it looks like. So this is also a one-off color. I had goofed up some dye, and so I just used it and I dyed it. I don't think it's the same color as this. No, this is my winter red. The mitts are winter red. This is kind of a red purple combo that will never happen again because I don't have, you know, quantities or anything. But anyway, it starts out similar to Ryoko, but it continues and it never decreases at the halfway point. So Ryoko is one of those ones that you start at one tip, use half your yarn, and then start to decrease. I didn't do that with this one. I just kept working in this patterning, and this patterning is also slightly different than what is in Ryoko. So anyway, at some point I thought, okay, after I picked it back up and started working on it, because again, I did no notes whatsoever when I stopped working on this. I thought, well, at some point I have to figure out what I'm doing as the other half or the other ending. And so I've basically started doing all these eyelets with garter rows between them. And I'm decreasing now, and I'm decreasing more rapidly. I do not know that this is ever actually going to get written up as a pattern, how this is going to end up. Number one, because it sat so long and I didn't have notes about how I started the first part, or worked the first part after I started it. And number two, I have no idea how this is going to end. Like, if I'm gonna like how this ends. But again, it's a good exercise just to figure something out, and hopefully eventually it might lead to another pattern. And it hopefully might end up being a gift for my mom at some point. And it's another long languishing whip that is finally getting attention. So yeah, it's it's just sort of a mishmash, and it's like, okay, whatever, at least it'll be done and it'll be a finished project eventually. At this point it will not count for any pigskin party points because that whip challenge is over, but that's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It'll get used for something at some point. So that is everything that I have worked on, have finished, and that is the only thing I have on the needles right now. I do have some yarn pulled out. So in the spirit of revisiting some of my older patterns with the intention of being able to update them, you know, make any little revisions. Mostly I also want to just get my patterns so that they're consistent, like what they look like visually. And so some of my older ones need updated in that way. With that in mind, I pulled out some yarn. I'm going to make an outdoorsy, which is just a cute little headband that you can wear as a headband or an ear warmer, a cowl, and it's great for just when you're going out for a little hike and it's kind of chilly. I used to wear mine all the time whenever I would go kayaking in the mornings in the spring because it was chilly enough. I needed something on my head, but not necessarily a whole full-on hat. The pattern's written for both fingering weight and worsted weight. And so I have some fingering weight pulled out that I'm gonna try making another one of those and seeing if I can modify it, or not modify it, but like just update the pattern in any way. I may put some kits for them in the shop at some point soon. We'll see. yeah, so that is on my radar. I've had a bunch of other patterns that I've looked at and I'm like, ooh, I'd like to make that. And the outdoorsies would also be a really good, excuse me, charity donation kind of thing too. So yeah, I think that is the next thing I'm probably going to cast on soon. Oh, and also a gnome. Again, like I'm doing this gnome collaboration. I feel like I should start knitting some gnomes. And like I said, I would like to put some gnome sets of yarn that would be workable for gnomes in the shop. So I really feel like I need to make myself a gnome and get the hang of that. So anyway, that is everything for crafting. As far as the make-along, we've got the Choose Your Own Adventure make-along going on throughout 2025. The chatter thread on Ravelry is going strong. So please feel free to join in. You can also join in just on Instagram if you would like to by using the hashtag, which I will put down here. I won't say it out loud because I never say hashtags right. So there it is. I will be doing quarterly drawings for participation on that. And there is a Fiber Nymph Dye Works specific component to this year's make along. Again, I will probably one more time link the video that I did introducing the make along. I'll link that up above and in the show notes as well. I did hear from all three of the final Project Pool Make Along winners. So thank you for getting in touch with me. I hope you enjoy your prize yarn. So that one is now completely finished, wrapped up. Nothing outstanding there. Yeah, so I hope you will join in this year's make along. Because really, again, my make alongs are so loose and just open to being what you need them to be, but the make along itself provides the structure and the community for you to help you keep going. That's how I look at them. Other than that, let's see, life stuff. It's been cold. It's been cold and snowy and cold and snowy and cold. Lots of fires in the fireplace, keeping us warm. Lots of moving of firewood in and into the house. Yeah, but it's fine. I'm feeling pretty warm and cozy and fortunate to be here. It's been nice, but then it's also kind of hard because like you plan to go out and do something. It's like wind chills in the minus single digits. It's like, no, I don't really need to go out and do anything right now. So anyway, things are moving along with my mom. She had her first set of tests this past week prior to her surgery that's coming up. I know I edited that section of the last podcast just because I had gone on and on for a long time and I felt like maybe I was telling too much detail, but she is looking at having some surgery in the next month or two, valve replacement surgery. So she has to have a bunch of tests. And so she did have her first two. They turned out great, no problems that they could see. So that was really good news. She did have sort of an issue after the one, not really a complication per se, but she ended up being in a lot of pain and ended up back at the hospital to work through that. And they found there was nothing really wrong. It was just probably some bruising or they had hit a nerve or something in doing the one test. So she has some medication to help her through that. But I just feel so bad because she's going through a lot right now and this is really stressful for her. And you know, if you are an adult child of a parent who lives far away, my mom's 800 miles away from me, and you cannot be there for everything, it's hard. It's just hard. So, you know, we had that this week. And then yesterday would have been my oldest son's 39th birthday. And that was also hard. So, you know, you have weeks that are a lot sometimes. But I am a fairly optimistic person, and I always believe that there is hope for things to get better, and it'll be okay. And so that's what I'm hanging on to. Sorry, I wasn't planning to get all emotional. Anyway, it's gonna be okay. Things will be okay. We've got each other, and we need to hold on to each other and uplift each other and be strong with each other, because that's where our strength comes from. Each other. It's hard to be strong all by yourself sometimes. So anyway, I'm really thankful for you guys and our community, and I hope you have people that help you be strong when you're having trouble being strong on your own. So on that note, I'm gonna go and I will talk to you again in the next couple of weeks probably. Again, you know, check your newsletter to see what's going on in the shop. You can find me on Instagram, you can find me on our Facebook group. I'm always available by email, in the Ravelry group, anywhere. If you need to get in touch with me directly though, email is always the best way to do it. I don't check private messages on social media very often at all, including my Ravelry messages. It's not where I go. So anyway, feel free to email me if you need to directly contact me. Anyway, all right, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. This video is probably not going to get up until Sunday at the earliest, but I hope your weekend's great, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.